The meteor streaked across the night sky like a tear in the fabric of space itself. Elias Reed watched from his porch, coffee mug suspended halfway to his lips as the object's trajectory changed twice before disappearing behind the jagged peaks of the Sierra Mountains. No meteor moved like that. Elias set his mug down and reached for his jacket. As a maintenance technician for the Mount Wilson Observatory, he'd seen plenty of astronomical phenomena, but nothing that maneuvered. His curiosity overrode his better judgment as he grabbed his truck keys and a flashlight. The forest roads were treacherous at night, winding and narrow as they climbed into the mountains. Elias followed his instincts, taking service roads he knew from years of hiking these woods. The impact site wasn't difficult to locate. A faint purple glow emanated from a small clearing about half a mile off the main road. What he found wasn't a meteor, but a sleek, oval pod about the size of a small car. Its metallic surface shimmered with iridescent patterns that seemed to move under the moonlight. A crack ran along one side, leaking that strange violet light. "Hello," Elias called, approaching cautiously. "Anyone there?" A sound, something between a gasp and a hum, came from inside. Elias moved closer, finding what appeared to be a release mechanism. With cautious fingers, he pressed against it. The pod's top section slid open with a pneumatic hiss. Inside lay a woman. At least, she appeared mostly human at first glance, with features that seemed almost too perfect. Her skin had a subtle lavender undertone that might have been a trick of the light. What wasn't a trick were her eyes, large, almond-shaped, and filled with swirling silver patterns like miniature galaxies. She spoke, a melodic series of sounds that made no sense to Elias's ears. "I don't understand," he said softly, extending his hand. "Are you hurt?" The woman hesitated, then reached out. When their fingers touched, a spark jumped between them. Not painful, but surprising. She gasped, her eyes widening. "The translation matrix. It functions now," she said, her voice carrying an accent that seemed to shift between syllables. "Your bioelectric field stabilized it." Elias helped her from the pod. She moved with graceful caution, like someone testing gravity for the first time. "My name is Elias. What's yours?" "In your language, you may call me Naya," she replied, studying him with those extraordinary eyes. "I must hide this craft. They will be searching." "Who's they?" Elias asked. Naya looked toward the stars. "Those who wish to prevent my mission. I am an envoy, a diplomat from the Luminary Confluence. My ship was attacked, and I barely escaped." She turned to him. "Why did you help me?" "You could have alerted your authorities," Elias shrugged. "Someone needed help. That's reason enough." Something in her expression softened. "Your species is fascinating. Such simple reasoning for potentially dangerous actions." She touched a small device on her wrist, and the pod began to shimmer before seemingly dissolving into particles that sank into the earth, leaving no trace. "Camouflage protocol engaged," she murmured. "It will remain hidden until I return." "Return from where?" "From wherever you take me," Naya said simply. "I require shelter while my systems recalibrate. Without it, they will detect my energy signature." Elias rubbed his neck, weighing his options. Harboring an alien fugitive hadn't been on his weekend plans. But something about Naya's direct gaze made him incapable of turning away. "I have a cabin," he said finally. "Not much, but it's private." "Thank you," she replied, the moonlight catching the subtle purple hue of her skin. "I will repay this kindness." Elias Reed. "How do you know my full name?" "I never told you." Naya's lips curved in what might have been a smile. "Your mind speaks even when your voice does not." "It is loud, but beautiful like music from a distant star." As they walked back toward his truck, Elias felt a strange certainty that his life had just irreversibly changed course, like a meteor altering its trajectory. Heading toward an unknown destination written in the stars, Elias's cabin sat nestled between towering pines. Far enough from civilization that the nearest neighbor was 3 miles away, for the first time, he was grateful for the isolation. Naya moved through the small space with curious precision, examining everyday objects as if they contained profound secrets. This device captures thermal energy and transfers it to your food, she asked, pointing to his old microwave. That's about right, Elias replied, setting down 2 mugs of tea. It's nothing special. On the contrary, Naya said, accepting the mug with delicate fingers. The simplicity is what makes it remarkable. My people create complex solutions when simple ones would suffice. In the warm light of the cabin, her skin's lavender undertone was more apparent, subtle but unmistakable. When she sipped the tea, the silver patterns in her eyes swirled faster, like excited galaxies. Tell me about these pursuers, Elias said, settling into his worn armchair. Naya's expression darkened. The Void Striders. A faction that believes interspecies diplomacy weakens us. They would prefer conquest to cooperation. She set down her mug. I carry information that could secure a peaceful alliance between our worlds. If they find me, that future dies, and they can track you. My energy signature is distinctive. This helps mask it. She touched a small pendant at her throat that pulsed with soft violet light, but it needs time to fully recharge after the crash. That night, Elias gave Naya his bed and took the couch. Sleep came fitfully as questions circled his mind. He woke at dawn to find her standing by the window, bathed in morning light that seemed to pass partially through her as if she were partially translucent. Glowing, he observed, rubbing sleep from his eyes. Solar absorption, Naya explained. My species evolved to supplement nutrition through photosynthesis. She turned, and the effect diminished. I apologize if it disturbs you. It's beautiful, he said without thinking. Something flickered across her face, surprise, perhaps pleasure. Few beings have ever called me beautiful. Function and purpose are valued above aesthetics where I come from. Over the following days, they established a routine. Elias called the observatory claiming illness, buying time. During daylight hours, Naya would sit in sunny patches, absorbing energy. At night, she taught Elias about her world, a binary star system with 3 habitable planets. Societies built around collective consciousness and mathematical precision. On the 4th evening, as they sat before the fireplace, Naya asked, "What is this sensation humans call loneliness?" Elias considered his answer carefully. It's the feeling that no one truly sees you, understands you, like being a single star in an empty sky. We have no word for this, she said softly. The luminary are always connected. Yet since my mission began, I've experienced something similar. Until now, her eyes met his. With you, the emptiness recedes. I've felt alone most of my life, Elias admitted. Watching stars instead of connecting with people. Naya moved closer, her hand hovering inches from his face. May I? He nodded, and her fingers brushed his temple. A gentle current passed between them, and suddenly Elias felt her presence not just physically, but mentally. A swirl of emotions not his own, curiosity, gratitude, and something warmer, undefined. This is how my people share, she whispered. Not just words, but essence. When the connection broke, something had changed between them. Barrier dissolved. That night, as Elias lay awake on the couch, he heard her soft footsteps. She stood in the doorway, silver eyes luminous in the darkness. I've studied human customs of comfort, she said. Is it permitted to request proximity during rest cycles? Elias smiled at her formal phrasing. You're asking if you can sleep next to me? Yes. My pendant works more efficiently with your bioelectric field nearby. He knew there was more to her request than the technical explanation, but he simply moved over, making space beside him on the narrow couch. When she settled against him, her skin was warm with a subtle vibration, like purring. Your heart rate increases when I'm near, Naya observed. That happens when humans are around someone they're attracted to, he explained. Feeling strangely bold in the darkness. Attracted. She repeated the word as if tasting it. We have similar responses, though we call it resonance. Her hand found his in the darkness. I believe I am experiencing resonance with you, Elias Reed. Outside, a shooting star streaked across the night sky. But this time, it wasn't changing course. It was heading directly toward them. They spotted the scout ship the next morning, a metallic orb hovering at the edge of the forest, its surface rippling like liquid mercury. Elias and Naya watched from the cabin window, keeping out of sight. "A reconnaissance drone," Naya whispered. "It can detect energy signatures but not interpret visual data well." "How long before more come?" Elias asked. "Days, perhaps hours?" The pendant's camouflage is working, but not perfectly. Her fingers intertwined with his. "I should leave." "Your involvement puts you at risk." Elias tightened his grip. "Not yet. There must be a way to enhance the pendant's effect." That afternoon, Elias drove to town for supplies, returning with electronic components from the local hardware store. As an observatory technician, he understood enough about amplification and shielding to attempt improvements. They worked side by side at the kitchen table, Naya guiding him through modifications that merged Earth technology with her own. Her knowledge of quantum mechanics made Elias's college physics seem elementary, yet she never made him feel inadequate. "Your intuitive approach complements my systematic one," she observed as they soldered a final connection. "Together, we create solutions neither would find alone." The enhanced pendant glowed brighter, its violet light pulsing in rhythm with Naya's heartbeat. When she placed it around her neck, the air around her shimmered briefly before settling. "It will provide better concealment," she said, "though not indefinitely." That evening, they celebrated their small victory. Elias prepared a simple meal pasta with fresh vegetables from his garden. He watched, amused. As Naya approached the food with scientific curiosity, the chemical reactions caused by heating these ingredients create complex flavor molecules. She noted after her first bite, eyes widening. "We have nothing like this. Our nutrition is efficient, but without joy." "Joy matters," Elias said. "It's not just an indulgence." After dinner, he played classical guitar recordings that filled the cabin with warm, resonant notes. Naya closed her eyes, her body swaying slightly. "The mathematical patterns in the sound waves," she murmured. "They create emotional responses I cannot explain." "That's the beauty of music," Elias said. "It doesn't need explanation to be felt." Naya opened her eyes, studying him with new intensity. "You've taught me something important, Elias. My people value knowledge, but we've forgotten experience." She moved closer to him on the couch. "I wish to experience more." Her request hung in the air between them. Elias reached out, his fingers tracing the delicate curve of her jaw. Her skin felt like silk, with a subtle electric current beneath. "Are you sure?" he asked. "We're very different beings." "Different forms, perhaps," Naya replied, "but I've been in your mind. Our essences are compatible, resonant." Her hand covered his. "Show me what it means to connect as humans do." Their first kiss was tentative, a gentle exploration of something new. The second was deeper, more certain. Naya learned quickly, her natural empathic abilities guiding her. When they drew apart, the silver in her eyes had brightened. "Spinning like miniature whirlpools, your pulses increased by 40%, she observed with a small smile. "That's a normal reaction," he replied. Brushing a strand of her luminescent hair from her face, they moved to the bedroom, where moonlight spilled through the window. Each touch was a discovery, Elias learning the subtle differences in her physiology. The places where her lavender skin grew warmer, more responsive. Naya explored him with equal fascination, her fingers leaving trails of pleasant tingles wherever they touched. Their connection transcended the physical. As their bodies joined, Naya established the mental link again, deeper this time. Elias felt her emotions merging with his wonder, desire, and a profound sense of finding something long sought. The dual experience was overwhelming in its intensity, boundaries dissolving between them. Later, as they lay entwined, Naya traced patterns on his chest that seemed to glow faintly before fading. "What are those?" He asked. "Star maps," she replied. "The route from my world to yours. In my culture, sharing navigation charts is an act of ultimate trust." "I'll remember the way," he promised. Naya's expression grew serious. "There may come a moment when you must decide between your world and mine. I would not ask that sacrifice of you." "Some things are worth sacrificing for," Elias said, pulling her closer. Outside, the scout ship had moved closer to the cabin. its sensors pulsing with increased urgency. Beneath the bed, Naya's pendant flickered briefly before stabilizing again. They had bought time, but the countdown had begun. The warning came at dawn, a high-pitched whine from Naya's pendant that jolted them both awake. Outside, 3 scout ships hovered in formation, their metallic surfaces reflecting the sunrise in rippling waves of light. "They've triangulated my position," Naya said, her voice tight with urgency. "The pendant can't mask us anymore." Elias was already moving, grabbing essentials: water, food, his laptop, and the tools they'd used to modify the pendant. "My truck is behind the cabin." "If we stay low—" "No," Naya interrupted. "Ground vehicles are too easily tracked." She pressed her palm against the pendant, which projected a holographic display of the surrounding area. "There's a research facility 17 miles northeast with advanced communication equipment. I could potentially contact allies from there." They slipped out the back door as the scout ships began scanning the cabin with pulsing blue light. The forest provided cover as they moved swiftly between trees, Naya's natural grace making her nearly silent despite their pace. "Who are these allies?" Elias asked when they paused at a stream to drink. "A faction of my people who believe in peaceful integration rather than isolation or conquest. They've established a small outpost in your solar system, one of Jupiter's moons." Naya's eyes scanned the sky nervously. "With the right equipment, I could send a quantum-encrypted signal they would recognize." They continued through the forest, the terrain growing steeper. By midday, they'd covered nearly 10 miles. Elias, despite being fit, struggled to maintain Naya's pace. When they stopped to rest, he noticed her skin had lost some of its luminescence. "You're not well," he said, touching her face gently. "My energy reserves are depleting," she admitted. "The pendant draws power from me to function." She looked up at the dappled sunlight filtering through the trees. "I need direct solar exposure." They found a small clearing where Naya could absorb sunlight. As she sat cross-legged with her face tilted upward, her skin began to glow with renewed violet radiance. Elias kept watch, the silence broken only by the distant calls of birds. "What happens if we reach this facility?" he asked finally. Naya opened her eyes, the silver patterns swirling slowly. "If I can contact my allies, they would extract me, take me to the outpost where I could complete my mission." "And if I wanted to come with you?" Her expression softened. "The journey would be one way, Elias. The gravitational differences. The radiation humans cannot survive long in deep space without extensive modifications." Before Elias could respond, a high-pitched whine cut through the air. A scout ship appeared overhead, its sensors sweeping the clearing in widening circles. "Run!" Naya grabbed his hand, pulling him back into the cover of trees. They sprinted through the forest, branches whipping past them. The ship followed, its metallic hum growing louder. Suddenly, the ground before them dropped away into a steep ravine with a rushing river below. "We're trapped," Elias gasped. Naya's eyes darted between the approaching ship and the ravine. "Not yet." She removed her pendant, pressed it firmly into Elias's palm, then closed his fingers around it. "This contains everything: my mission data, my personal memories, the coordinates of the Jupiter outpost." "Hey, why are you giving me this?" "Because they're tracking me, not the pendant." Her eyes held his with fierce intensity. "I'm going to draw them away. You must reach the facility." "No." Elias grabbed her arm. "We stay together." The ship was nearly upon them now, its underside opening to reveal a capture mechanism, concentric rings of pulsing energy. Naya placed her hands on either side of Elias's face, initiating the mental connection one last time. In that instant, she shared everything: her fear, her determination, but most powerfully, her feelings for him. Emotions her people had no names for, but that humans called love. "Find me," she whispered against his lips. Then she turned and ran parallel to the ravine, her body beginning to glow with bright purple light that no camouflage could hide. The ship immediately changed course. 2 more appeared from beyond the trees, joining the pursuit. Elias stood frozen, the pendant warm in his hand, watching as Naya led the ships away. Then, gripping the pendant tightly, He turned and continued toward the research facility alone, but carrying a piece of her with him. Night had fallen by the time he reached the facility, a cluster of white buildings surrounded by satellite dishes and antenna arrays. Using skills from his maintenance work, bypassed the security system and located the main communication lab. The pendant contained not just data but instructions. Following them, Elias connected it to the facility's equipment, modifying the transmission array to broadcast on frequencies no Earth technology was designed to reach. As he worked, he felt Naya's presence guiding him through the technical complexities. When the system was ready, Elias hesitated, his finger hovering over the activation switch. Once sent, the signal would bring Naya's allies, but it would also alert her pursuers to his location. He pressed the switch. The pendant glowed brilliantly, pulsing as it transmitted its message into the depths of space. On the monitor, confirmation appeared in strange, flowing script that somehow Elias could understand. Signal received. Coordinates locked. Extraction imminent. Through the lab windows, he saw lights in the sky, not stars, but ships descending. Whether they were allies or enemies, he would soon discover. Clutching the pendant, Elias whispered, "I'm coming for you, Naya, whatever it takes." The ships that landed outside the research facility weren't the sleek, Mercury-like vessels of the Void Striders. These were crystalline structures that seemed to bend light around them, appearing and disappearing like mirages as they touched down. From the first ship emerged three beings. Though humanoid, they moved with the same fluid grace as Naya, their skin showing various shades of blue and violet. The leader, distinguished by elaborate markings across his forehead, approached Elias without hesitation. "You carry Envoy Na's essence signature," he stated in perfect English. "I am Commander Talon of the Luminary Peacekeepers." "Where is she?" Elias explained what had happened, showing them the pendant. They took her southeast, toward the mountains. Talon's expression remained impassive, but the pendant in Elias's hand pulsed in response to his presence. "You modified this technology," he observed. "No human has ever interfaced with our quantum matrices before." "Naya showed me how," Elias said simply. The commander studied him with eyes that contained the same swirling silver patterns as Naya's. "You share a resonance bond with her, unprecedented between our species. Will you help me find her?" Instead of answering, Talon turned to his companions and spoke in their melodic language. After a brief exchange, he faced Elias again. "The Void Striders have taken her to their extraction point in your Nevada desert. They intend to leave your solar system within hours." "Then we need to hurry," Elias insisted. "It is not that simple. You are human. Our conflict is not yours." Elias stepped forward, his voice steady. "She made it mine when she saved me. I won't abandon her." Something like respect flickered across Talon's features. "Very well. But understand, if you come with us, you enter a war beyond your comprehension, and returning to Earth may not be possible." "I understand." Within minutes, Elias found himself aboard the crystalline ship. Surrounded by technology that made Earth's most advanced systems look primitive, through viewport panels he watched his world fall away as they accelerated into the upper atmosphere. "We're tracking the Void Strider vessel," a luminary officer informed them. "They've already left Earth's orbit but are moving slowly due to damage from earlier combat." The pursuit took them beyond the moon, into the dark space between worlds. Elias felt strangely calm despite the enormity of what was happening. The pendant pulsed more frequently now, almost like a heartbeat. "She's alive," Talon confirmed, noticing Elias's attention to the pendant. "They need her intact to extract the diplomatic codes and neural patterns she carries." "How do we get her back?" The commander activated a holographic display showing the enemy ship a dark, angular vessel trailing energy disruptions behind it. "We intercept before they reach their hyperspace threshold. But boarding their vessel will be dangerous." "I'm going with you," Elias said firmly. Talon didn't argue. Instead, he presented Elias with a sleek suit of what appeared to be liquid metal. "This will protect you from radiation and provide limited shielding." As they closed on the Void Strider ship, Elias felt the pendant grow warmer. He was certain now that it maintained some connection to Naya beyond mere data storage. The ships engaged in a brief, intense battle energy, weapons firing brilliant streams of light across the void. When the Void Strider's shields faltered, Talon led the boarding party, including Elias, through a breach in their hull. The interior of the enemy vessel was dark, lined with pulsing circuitry that seemed almost organic. They encountered resistance Void Striders with weapons that fired concentrated darkness rather than light. The Luminary fought with precision and coordination that spoke of centuries of training. Elias followed the pendant's pulsing, which grew stronger down a particular corridor. It led them to a chamber where Naya lay suspended in a field of energy. Her body translucent, as if being slowly erased from reality. "They're extracting her consciousness," Talon explained grimly. "We must hurry." Commander worked to disable the extraction field while his team held off reinforcements. Elias moved to Naya's side, placing the pendant against her chest. It flared with brilliant light, and her eyes fluttered open, the silver patterns weak but present. "Elias," she whispered, "you shouldn't be here." "I told you some things are worth sacrificing for," Talon's voice cut through the moment. "The field is collapsing. We must move now." They carried Naya back to the Luminary vessel as the Void Strider ship began to self-destruct around them. The escape was chaotic alarms, blaring, explosions rocking both ships. When they finally broke free, the enemy vessel imploded into a brief, brilliant flare of dark energy before disappearing completely. In the medical bay of the Luminary ship, Elias sat beside Naya as regenerative fields worked to restore her energy. Her hand found his, squeezing weakly. "You left your world behind," she said, her voice barely audible. "I found a new one," he replied simply. Commander Talon entered, his expression solemn. "Envoy Naya's data is intact. The Alliance can proceed." He paused, regarding Elias. "We face a dilemma. No human has ever been beyond the solar system. Our protocols are clear on contamination risks." "What are you saying?" Elias asked. "That officially, you cannot exist among us as you are." Talon's expression softened slightly. "However, there may be a solution. Our scientists have developed integration protocols for species compatibility. It would allow you to survive in our environments, though you would be changed." Naya's grip on Elias's hand tightened. The choice must be his. Elias looked between them. "What exactly would this integration involve?" "A synthesis," Talon explained. "Your consciousness would remain, but your physical form would adapt. Becoming a hybrid capable of surviving in multiple environments, including Earth's, would I still be me?" "Your essence would be unchanged," Naya assured him, "just as mine remained when we shared thoughts." The decision wasn't as difficult as it should have been. Earth held little for Elias compared to what lay before him: entire worlds. A universe of knowledge, and most importantly, Naya. 3 months later, a small luminary vessel approached Earth orbit. Inside, Elias stood before a viewport. His appearance subtly altered. His skin now had the faintest blue undertone. His eyes contained tiny flecks of silver that caught the light. Beside him, Naya watched his face as he gazed upon his home planet. "Having regrets?" she asked softly. "No," he replied, turning to her. "Just saying goodbye properly this time." As Earth's ambassador to the Luminary Confluence, Elias would return occasionally, working in secret with select human scientists to prepare for the day when open contact would become possible. But his true home was now among the stars. With Naya, they had been transformed, she, more human in her emotions and perspectives, he more luminary in his physical capabilities. Neither fully one species nor the other, they had become something new together. As Earth receded behind them and they set course for the luminary homeworld, Naya initiated the mental connection they now shared permanently. Their thoughts intertwined like twin stars in orbit around each other, separate entities creating a single harmonious system. "In all the mathematical probabilities of the universe," Naya whispered, "finding you was the most beautiful improbability." Elias smiled, the silver in his eyes catching the light of distant stars. "Some would call that destiny. Some would call it love," she replied. As their ship accelerated toward the infinite horizon of possibilities that lay before them,